So we'll call this Walter White villain or hero. So basically, even the writers of Breaking Bad say that it's the story of a good guy becoming a bad guy. But I've never felt like he ever was a villain. I felt more like it was like a Revenge of the Nerds story. Like he was the nerd that everybody underestimated, and he proved everybody wrong, and he got revenge and kicked everybody's ass. I might also title this video Walter White, Loser or Winner. And now I'm going to go on at length about all of that, in no particular order. I guess I'll start with whether he was a loser or a winner. Okay, I make no money, personally, and people would say I don't have a job. However, I say, well, just because I don't make money at my job doesn't mean I don't have a job. Just because you can't measure it according to your standards doesn't mean that. I give beauty to the world, and I work with mentally handicapped people 24/7. Walter White actually also gave to the world. He was a loving father, a loving husband. He taught teenagers at school. So was he a loser? Well, I mean, I guess he was a loser if what you consider your measure of a success is how much money they make, right? But that's not how I measure it, and I think this is about Walter White learning that that's not how he should measure himself. Well, certainly not according to what's legal. And I don't really respect what's legal. I obey what's legal. But I don't say like, oh, well, if it's legal, it must be okay. Like, that's what retards think. I mean, and again, like Hank, to me, is the ultimate loser. Somebody who believes in a system that doesn't make any sense at all. But he's considered to be a winner. And, you know, you look into the past, people like artists have always been considered losers. Edgar Allan Poe, Beethoven, most of them were considered losers during their lifetimes. And now they're considered to be the biggest winners of all time, right? And then some of the biggest winners, like, I don't know, Richard Nixon. Now they're considered, or Thomas Edison. History will remember them as losers. Getting rich, okay, Hugh Hefner, to me, he's the biggest loser that ever existed. And I mean, in a way, I guess, this was about Walter White giving up on trying to become a winner according to what society believes to be victory, and saying, you know what, screw that. I'm going to go about it myself, because the system failed me. Look where I'm at. And also, it's like, are you a loser according to your own standards or society's standards? Because if you're going to measure yourself on society's standards, you're probably going to be a loser. And the question also on your own standards, what are your standards? If being a winner means having a Ferrari, then you're a loser if you don't have one. And I know a lot of losers according to that. If you never wanted a Ferrari, such as myself, then you're not a loser to yourself, according to your own standard. The worst is when you're a loser according to your own values. Back to Walter White and Breaking Bad. So to me, it's not so much about a story about him becoming a villain, and he started out as a good guy, and he became a bad guy, or all that. He was never a bad guy to me, even in the end. He always made moral choices. He often made the right moral choice, as we all do. And he often made the wrong moral choice, as we all do. So, to me, it's not about that. But I do think it's about a loser becoming a winner. I think that the likable thing about Walter White is that he's a loser. He's getting old. Everybody underestimates him. That's one of the coolest things about him. Everybody always thinks they can beat him up and toss him around. And he always outsmarts them in the end, even though he's the biggest loser. He's dying of cancer and blah, 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 if you've watched the show. And if you haven't watched the show, this video will be of no interest to you. He isn't cool, right? Jesse was cool. And look what that got him. He's old and dying, and he works in a car wash. And let's all make fun of him. And he's done. His life is over. And he's like, no, wait a second. Old is not, it's not so bad to be old. Dying, well, I got a little bit of life left in me. And I work in a car wash, but that's because I care about my family. and you make fun of me because you're just young and stupid. And you've got the wrong values because that's what you consider success. And I'm not done. It's more of an underdog story to me than a good guy becoming a bad person. They shouldn't have called it Breaking Bad. They should have called it Breaking Victory. And the best part is at the end he succeeds. He kills all the bad people and he ends up providing for his family. Something he would not have been able to do had he been done or old or a loser who only had no more ambitions than working at a car wash and teaching chemistry to a bunch of kids that don't give a shit about chemistry. And the law laughs at him because he follows it. You know, and the old loser in me relates to him. I'm a smoker too, so I'll probably have cancer. I hung out and drank with a bunch of 19-year-olds a few years ago, and I was just trying to find out if I was out of touch with the new generation, and if they're all geniuses now because they all got technology. See if they're sharper than me. And they were really nice, but I was amazed that, you know, they were not sharp. They were totally out of touch with anything, everything, and they were really naive and they were really boring. Technology is not making the new generation smarter, and youth does not necessarily make you smarter or more cool, because well, it's only half the battle. You also have to work at learning and stuff, and most of them aren't because of all the apps and all that. And if you look at the first episode of Breaking Bad, you got Jesse Pinkman going, "Oh, you're just an old geezer, loser science teacher, and I'm this cool guy that's got it all figured out, and I'm street smart." And it turns out to be completely the opposite. And maybe that's just the old person in me talking. I'm 42. But I certainly enjoy that. The fact that you think Walter White is old and he's done and he's not hip and he doesn't go to Beyonce concerts. And you find out actually, no, he's smarter than everybody. You know, and then it makes me think about mentally ill people because I have anxiety, right? And so the question is, does anxiety make me the way I am? Or does the way I am cause me to be a person with anxiety? When you're a perfectionist and obsessive compulsive or whatever, you're focused so much on one thing to the degree that at the expense of everything else, but you will probably excel at that thing. So again, like, I don't view anxiety as like a disability as much as I view it as a superpower, because I see things that nobody can see. And in the same way, I'm going to look at Walter White. He's always freaking out and shit. I don't know. I can't really compare it, I suppose. But he is kind of an anxious, you know, insect mind kind of person. I generally find people who are not singular-minded, they don't know what they want, and they don't strive towards what they want at the expense of everything else. I consider them weak. People who change their minds all the time because whatever, who cares? I consider that weak. I consider somebody like myself who actually focuses on one thing and goes all the way, all the time. I'm very proud of myself in that regard. So, I mean, yeah, I guess Walter White's a loser because he doesn't drive a Ferrari, and he's not young and good looking, and what was the other one? He doesn't get laid all the time. Yeah, if that's your gauge of success, then yeah, he's a loser. And again, I'll end this by saying that this is not a story about a good person becoming evil. He wasn't a good person in the beginning at all. He was just a follower. This is about a person reclaiming his will, and maybe we'll say imposing it on the people who are trying to impose their will on him. It's a revenge of the nerd story. Oh, one more thing. P.S. Obi-Wan Kenobi in the first Star Wars movie, it's not that profound, but he goes, "Who's the bigger fool, the fool or the fool who follows him?" And like, yeah, in Breaking Bad, every other character is equally evil. Because they follow Walter White, or they are against Walter White. But his wife and his kid, they all show corruption in them. Hank is a piece of shit. They're all equally evil, as far as I can tell. He's just the only one who says, well, yeah, but I'm more, driven than you are. And I don't care as much as you do about conventions or the law, like Hank Schrader after he beat Jesse Pinkman to a pulp. You know, that was sick what he did. Even the good characters do sick things all the time. Just as sick, or if not more sick. I would say that Walter White was the one who won. He's the only one on the show who won. And if that's what makes somebody a villain, then sign me up. If you like gays, click like. If you like blacks, comment. If you like women, click notification bell. If you like gay women, subscribe. And if you like gay black women, Patreon, Human Warnings.